Welcome to the Writer Reads Short Stories. This is Stiletto's Luck, Part 3 of 4.
Don't worry, though. He's on our side against the demons.
Stiletto felt like he'd been struck with a mallet.
Demons? She was teaching children about demons. Now, I want you to do your best to remember his face because he can't stay long. The chorists are a bit cross with him right now, and we must do our best to keep him alive. Do you all remember the chant I taught you?
20 heads nodded, eyes bright and interested as they studied him. Great, just what I need. 21 people who will forever know my face. Stiletto tried to turn his head, found he couldn't, found his feet carrying him to the older woman's side. His heart jolted again as he realized the compulsion had been laid without him knowing. As he halted next to her, Stiletto looked across at the teacher. She appeared to be nearing her first half-century, older, but was not as elderly as he'd supposed. Her eyes caused his heart to stutter as they shifted from a benign brown to a lucid blue and the deepest of ancient jungle greens. His lips parted to form the word, and her voice echoed in his mind. Don't. Not even the bards have pierced this disguise. But what of angels? Stiletto wondered, and was surprised when she answered him. Some of them suspect, but as my goals align with theirs, they do not care. Stiletto should have known she could read his thoughts. Most dragons had that ability. He knew he should be assembling mental defenses to keep her outside his head, but he couldn't see the point. She would aid him, and he would know to shield himself in future. And besides, shock had wiped most of what he usually carried out of his reach. The sound of the she-dragon's soft laughter echoed in his mind, mocking his ambition. Who was he to think he could shield himself against one as powerful as her? The well-founded arrogance there made him smirk. It caused the dragon consternation, but neither of them had time for the game. You need to stand right there, the matronly human told him before turning to her students. Begin the chant, children, nice and clear, strong but gentle. We don't want the flowers coming out of his nose now, do we? Flowers? Coming out of his where? To give their teacher credit, not a single student laughed. Oh, he caught a smile here and there, but when the she-dragon raised her hands and snapped her fingers in the required beat, the children drew breath as one. Stiletto listened as first one and then another of the children took up a thread of music and wove it into spoken song. He tried to follow the lilts and turns, only to realize it was like running down a myriad of forested pathways. Somewhere in the distance he heard someone knocking at the door, quickly hushed by magic as the dragon glared toward it. Before the knocking came again, she flicked her hands, urging the children to continue their song. As she did so, Stiletto realized he was seeing the teacher and her class as though from a distance. The wooden paneling and colorful cushions, the children with their faces taut in concentration, the teacher already schooling her features to surprised innocence, all were fading. The shine of crystalline light giving way to leaf-colored sunshine was all the warning he received before he landed hard amidst a flurry of pink and white petals. A shout of alarm and cry of outrage came from close by. Betty! The dragon giggled in his head, her presence abruptly departing as several angry bards disrupted the children's song and the gateway slammed into nothingness. Stiletto hit the ground hard, lost the breath in his lungs, lost the ability to draw more when he swallowed a petal and began to choke. Whoever had cried out in alarm did not let the flowers stop him from coming to the assassin's side and turning him over. Why such a simple action should teach his lungs how to breathe once more, Stiletto didn't know, nor did he care as he took another breath and felt the shaky weakness in his limbs subside. Where am I? She sent you on child song, didn't she? The young man at his side was outraged. Stiletto nodded. She's only been trying to do that for a decade. Last one she sent had to be dug out of the perifew. I cannot believe. A large hand descended on the young fellow's shoulder. Ease up, lad. Betty had her reasons, and we can't go telling strangers all our secrets now, can we? Betty didn't have any trouble revealing mine, Stiletto wanted to protest. But he was looking past the earnest young man who had helped him breathe, and his tongue stilled as all thought fled. I know you, he wanted to say. Help me. And that was the only thought that echoed through his mind. Help me, help me, help me. What do I do? Be still, the elf ordered, and in an action at odds with his words, reached down to pull Stiletto to his feet. But you're. I said, be still, the angel repeated, making his elven disguise ripple. Behind Stiletto, the young man hesitated, shook his head, and finished getting to his feet. I'll salvage what I can, he said, and the elf relaxed, although his grip did not. Stiletto said the first thing that came into his head. Cloves and oranges. It came out as a whisper. Silence, the elf commanded. You will walk with me in contemplation. And communion, the angel added, his mental voice as clear as bells. Stiletto felt the weakness returning to his limbs, felt his stomach churn as his guts turned to ice. It was a feeling he knew well, and it brought sweat to his forehead and dampness to his palms. The angel tightened his grip on both the assassin's mind and his hand. Walk with me, he said, the words soothing on the forest air. Walk with me, he ordered, the menace in Stiletto's head bringing no comfort to his soul. They came to a long, low hall set in the side of a hill, buttressed by trees and thatched with living branches and moss-grown straw. Instead of going inside, they walked past it, around the flank of the hill, and into a beautiful valley open to the sky. Stiletto could not stop the shiver that ran through his body. I will die here, he thought, and I do not know if I found them all. The angel, elf, squeezed his hand and led him forward. When the hall and its gardens and the attendants were out of sight, when all that surrounded them was the sun-warmed grass and meadow flowers, the only sound the gentle cacophony of the stream running down the valley centre, the angel led him to a tumble of boulders and bade him sit. Stiletto wanted to do anything but. He wanted to flee, to give his terror wings, to do anything but subside quietly onto the warm granite and wait for judgment. He had to kill an angel. No, a demon. His mind scrambled for traction. Oranges and cloves, cloves and oranges, where there should have been lime, rosemary, and perfume, he'd smelt dried wood and citrus. What did it mean? What had he done? The valley faded as his memory drew the picture of the angel falling, its face changing as he sent it to the hells. Did I find them all? Tell me, the angel said, bringing Stiletto back to the valley, the sunshine and warmth, the terrible open sky. But Stiletto did not. He caught the snap of wings flaring on descent and heard the rustle of feathers. He felt the angel coil a hand around his arm as though he needed to be restrained, and perhaps he did. The thought passed, fleeting, through Stiletto's mind. He was still armed. If he had no hope of fleeing, then perhaps he could kill at least one before they brought him down. Be still, the angel soothed, and scowled when Stiletto shook the compulsion from his mind. The assassin watched as the angels descended, 3, no, 5, touching down as gently as thistledown, each carrying a person in their arms. Stiletto's heart stuttered, thudding painfully against his ribs, causing uncomfortable echoes of its beats at his throat, under his arms, at his wrists. Only the angel's hand on his arm prevented him from coming to his feet. Elaine! His voice was hoarse, the word barely audible. The bard, his lover, glanced his way before glancing at the angel who had brought her and taking its hand. So he had been right. She had been compromised. At least she had not been compromised by the hells, he thought, and wondered if this could be construed as better. The angel glanced at him in surprise, its lips curling in amusement. How could it not? Stiletto glanced across the others who had been brought. He recognized the Master of Bards, Lord Andaman and Merle, and High Lord Drusen. Stiletto almost knelt as they alighted, all that remained of the highest ruling council. The demons had taken Stannis and Cristani, but hadn't yet moved on the others, at least not to Stiletto's knowledge. Movement distracted him, and Stiletto rose to his feet as the Master of Bards stepped toward him, pointing a finger where he clearly would have preferred to draw his sword. "You killed an angel!" he bellowed. "In my halls!" Stiletto wasn't sure what outraged the man more, the fact he'd killed an angel, or the fact he'd killed anything, let alone an angel, in the sacred halls of the man's academy. It needed killing, he said, unrepentant as certainty ran through his soul. You, and I would do it again, Stiletto added, cutting through the master's outrage. Why? The elf angel asked. To save the city, Stiletto replied, to stop them from getting a toehold on the world. Why? The question gave Stiletto pause, and the answer came with certainty. It is what I was born to do, he said. Killing demons is my destiny. And angels? The question was tinged with amusement, but the angels' faces were not. No, it was true. The very thought made Stiletto feel ill. No, he said again. No, I was not made for that. Then why? Distress cracked the pure notes of Elaine's voice, burring them with pain. I. Stiletto did not know the answer. He tried again for the sake of his love, in the vain hope of keeping her, to explain. In the end, the reason was simple. It wasn't an angel. She gasped. He will show you, the elf angel said, and knocked on the doors to Stiletto's mind. Stiletto wondered why the angel bothered. He had no way of shutting the creature out. The angel could have walked in and taken any memory he desired, without knocking.